Something I see a lot of people forget recently is the team in Team Fortress 2. What do I mean? I mean that people are more concerned with top scoring and getting the highest kill streak rather than helping their fellow players. Your team can be a powerful asset and you should try to protect them whenever you can. So in the spirit of helping everyone out, we are going to take a look at the top 9 best loadouts for supporting your teammates. As usual, this is in order of classes, as I can't really pick the best of a bunch because it really depends on the situation of which these weapons would help you the most. That being said, let's get started. First we have the Scout, and for his primary we will be using the Force of Nature, for being able to knock enemies off of a point or away from injured teammates. Its knockback is a powerful thing, don't underestimate it. Second is the Mad Milk for offering 60% healing to both you and your teammates for all the damage they do to the covered target or targets. And lastly, the Candy Cane. While you will be one-shot by about every rocket launcher in the game, when you kill someone, a small health pack will be dropped that you and your teammates can use. But also be aware that the enemy team can use these as well, so be a bit careful with that one. For Soldier, any of his buffs, such as the Buff Banner, Battalion's Backup, or the Conjurer could have made this list. The Buff Banner grants mini-crits to all surrounding players within a decently large radius around the Soldier for 10 seconds, and the Battalion's Backup grants immunity to critical damage, 35% resistance to damage, or 50% resistance to sentry damage, while also bringing the user's max health up to 220 HP. However, both of those buffs require the user to deal 600 damage before he can use them, and they really only reward players who are already going full throttle and attack all at once. What if there was something that requires less damage to activate, and not only helps your attacking teammates, but helps your injured teammates retreat as well? Oh wait, there is! The Conjurer! While the other two need 600 damage done to fully charge, the Conch only needs 480 damage. So how does this help both injured players and players ready to attack? Well, first it grants everyone a movement speed boost, which those ready to attack can use to outflank their enemies and stay ahead of most of them, and those who are too critically hurt to fight but are in the line of fire can use it as a quick retreat, healing 35% of all damage your teammates do to an enemy while not limited to just one or a few targets like the Mad Milk. It also grants a passive health regeneration to the user whether the conch is active or not, the fastest to activate, and it helps all of your teammates no matter what situation they are in or how hurt they are. Now that is one hell of a weapon. So what about his primary and melee? Well, I'm going to go with the Cow Mangler as it can disable buildings for your team and you don't ever need to steal metal or ammo from them to reload the weapon. And as for the melee, the Disciplinary action, for helping them get to the front lines quickly or run away in a bad situation when you don't have a conch to blow. That sounded wrong. Now for the Pyro. This one is a really hard one, not because Pyro does too little to help his team, but he just does too freaking much. He can extinguish burning players, reflect rockets, sticky bombs, grenades, well, except for the Iron Bomber's grenades if they've already hit the ground. But he can stop the Iron Bomber's grenades from hurting his teammates, he can remove sappers, knock enemies away from an objective, spy check. Good lord, the Pyro is more of a team player than the medic. Okay, so where to even begin? Well, let's start with his flamethrower. I'm going to go with the Degreaser again just for its fast deploy time in a pinch, as every second counts. And for his secondary, we could go with the Man Melter for extinguishing burning teammates, but why bother when the Degreaser can just air blast? No, let's go with the Scorch Shot, being able to knock enemies back that are outside of your blast radius and instantly destroying sticky bombs on the ground. It is a great asset to your teammates. And lastly, the Home Wrecker. It removes sappers from friendly buildings in one hit. Enough said. Now we have the Demoman, and this one's gonna be a long one to explain. Demoman is a tricky one. He doesn't really go out of his way to help teammates, probably because he really has no weapons meant to do so. Now, the sticky launcher is meant for defense, but come on, every demo just spams it to be a more effective grenade launcher, never actually defending, and even if you do use it for that purpose, you can only set a couple of traps strong enough to take down a heavy without overheal that both detonate at the same time. If you want to protect against a heavy being pocketed by a medic, it is better to put all of your stickies in one spot, which severely limits your defensive capabilities. So where are we going with this? Well, a weapon that can set up to 2 to 3 traps at once strong enough to kill an overhealed heavy, and detonate the traps individually so you do not have to redo each trap because of one guy. A weapon that fires its sticky bombs 25% faster, has 50% extra ammo, which means less backtracking to grab an ammo box, and the ability to destroy enemy sticky bombs to help protect engineers. Yup, For, what is this, the third time? The Scottish Resistance takes the number 4 spot on one of my top 9 lists. I swear, this is not intentional. It's just, dude, if you do not rely on sticky spam, it's practically a direct upgrade to stock. But everyone spams to win, so no one ever uses the poor thing. It doesn't really need a buff or anything, I think it's fine the way it is. To get people using it, I think the stock launcher needs a nerf, but that is a subject for another day. For now, once again the Scottish Resistance steals the spotlight. Now, for his primary and melee, well, let's go with the Iron Bomber, as its pills have almost no roll at all, and it's great for area denial. Plus, Pyros have a difficult time reflecting that thing when it's already on the ground. Now, as for his melee, that's a tough one. The Eyelander. Increase melee range, and you can gain up to 210 HP, and be almost as fast as a scout even without the booties. Basically, you can run around and keep an eye on everyone while also being able to tank damage for your team once you get your health up. Plus, you only need 2 heads to have a health advantage. I know it's a weird one, but I mean, there can definitely be a lot of situations where you can use a sword without a shield. Next, we move on to the heavy weapons guy, and the sandwich. It's super obvious. You can toss a medium health pack to teammates to heal them. But what about his melee and minigun? Well, let's start with his minigun. The best thing a heavy can directly do for his teammates while attacking with a minigun is be a damage sponge. And we have 2 miniguns that perfectly fit that bill, the Brass Beast and the Natasha, both offering a 20% resistance when spun up and health is less of 50% of max. The longer you can survive, the more damage you can sponge for your team. However, the Natasha has to beat out the Brass Beast on this list for a few reasons. The Brass Beast, at least as of this video's upload date, that thing is due for a buff, so it may change. But for now, its slow spin-up time and movement speed are a huge hindrance if you need to quickly deploy and kill someone to save a teammate. Granted, the 30% slower spin-up time of the Natasha is not amazingly better than the 50% slower spin-up time of the Brass Beast, but in a pinch, it will make a difference. Aside from that, what is more helpful to keeping teammates alive? Extra damage for an immobilized heavy, or the ability to slow targets to a crawl and hold them in place, enabling injured teammates to escape a pursuer. 9 out of 10 times, the Natasha is going to be more important to teammates' survival. Now, the Brass Beast is probably better for turning the tide of a game, but this is just for keeping your comrades alive, so we're going with the Natasha on this one. So now we get to the melees. Heavy has a few melees that could help teammates, such as the Gloves of Running Urgently to help bring up the back lines faster after a respawn, or the Fist of Steel for absorbing damage. But the Natasha already does that in this loadout, so that's totally pointless. But what would help teammates more than slowing targets down to a crawl? Stopping them all together and preventing them from shooting while giving you or your teammates plenty of time to finish them off. Yes, I am talking about the often forgotten Holiday Punch. Well, often forgotten in serious play.
Dovahkiin. Dragon Ball. Put this power!
It's really more of a joke weapon. Instead of doing damage from behind, you force your enemies into an uncontrollable laughing fit, of which there is no escape until it's too late. Its silliness aside, you cannot tell me that the ability to lock a target in place and strip his weapons for a moment is not a great asset. Perfect for protecting teammates when an enemy can do no harm in the first place. Also setting him up for an easy kill which your comrades will greatly appreciate. Such as an Ubersaw medic? Next is Engineer, and first let me start by saying that being an asset to your team and downright protecting them are 2 totally different things. And while the Gunslinger has its moments where you should use it over stock, when it comes to protection, it will always come in last place. Alright, not saying it's a bad weapon by any means, but it has no place on this list. That being said, which of his 4 remaining wrenches helps the team the most? Well, there is the Jag, which builds faster, but it is terrible at removing sappers, taking 3 hits to do so instead of 2, and while it has a faster swing rate, it also has a slower repair rate. Stock is okay, but is there one wrench that might be a bigger asset? Well, helping sneak behind enemy lines and set up a powerful offensive or a sneaky path for teammates to get behind the enemy without being detected, the Eureka Effect. With this wrench, you can teleport to your spawn for metal, and you can teleport to your exit regardless if it's active or not. And with this wrench, you have the ability to hide an unnoticeable deactivated exit and teleport behind their lines to bring up a sneaky sentry attack. but for more of an asset to teammates, when making an offensive sentry nest in their base, high importance is getting it up and running with at least a level 2 everything before they can find you. Otherwise, it will not last long. With the Eureka effect, you can teleport back and forth between your nest and spawn, grabbing ammo and metal to help fellow engineers or to keep your own nest running even if they get into our own base and destroy the teleporter entrance. As for his other weapons, for his secondary we are going to equip, terrible as it is, the short circuit. You can evaporate incoming projectiles or clear sticky traps for teammates. That alone is enough to get it on this list. As for his shotgun, the Rescue Ranger is great for helping fellow engineers, but not anyone else. No, for his primary, we are going to be using the Pomson 6000, which I guess isn't technically a shotgun. Anyway, the Pomson 6000 for having a wide variety of ways to help teammates, such as not requiring ammo that you may need to take from ammo packs or friendly dispensers. The projectiles cannot be reflected back into teammates. It can light a friendly huntsman arrow on fire, even underwater. It can remove 10% of a medic's uber charge on hit, stalling or entirely stopping an uber push, and disabling the dead ringer from those spies who spam click it while running over ammo packs for the resistance and speed boost to stab more teammates. God, I hate those guys. The Pomson 6000 dailies in Mental Gin, it does it all. You know, except for actually being a good weapon. Now for Medic, and oh god, this is a hard one. Most of his weapons are directly designed for helping teammates. He's just too good overall. But let's go over the best for keeping teammates alive and nothing else. Crusader's Crossbow, obvious choice, you can heal up to 75 HP from long distances, and it helps you build your Uber. Not by much, but it helps a little tiny insignificant bit. Well, at least it's something. As for the Medigun, while Ubers provide entire damage immunity at most to 2 people if you time your switches right, the Uber itself is a very slow build for a short-lived but powerful push. It is more focused on making a strong push with a few people than keeping the entire team alive. The Vaccinator is great but only allows 1 resistance at a time. Well, technically 2 if you switch it between the resistances while you pop it, but one's going to be much weaker than the other. And as for keeping teammates alive, the Kritzkrieg is a total freaking joke. So that kind of narrows it down, doesn't it? The Quick Fix. The Quick Fix has a 40% faster heal rate and roughly a 14 to 17% faster build rate for unbelievably accelerated heal rates. But Ace, I hear you say, the Quick Fix only has 10% faster build rate, not 17. See, this is where a lot of people forget. Because the Quick Fix can never fully overheal, the heal targets are never considered at full health, so the heal rate does not get slower for overhealing someone. Now for melee. In a rare instance when the Quick Fix is just not fast enough to heal everyone, pull out your amputator and heal everyone in the song's radius. A last resort, but it has its uses, and it helps build Uber. Bit faster than the Crusader's Crossbow. Still not by much at all though. Just never do this in competitive. You will die so fast to a pick class. So there you have it. Every single weapon in this medic's loadout heals you and does it better than every other weapon he owns. Now for Sniper. How can this Australian, or New Zealand-ian, possibly keep you alive? The Sydney Sleeper. When this rifle was buffed, it got the nice added stat of scope shots extinguish flames on wielder and allied players. So if you are burning to death, don't worry, Sydney Sleeper has you covered. In piss. Now for his secondary, same idea but faster response time. Girardi. When you're on your last bit of health and there's no time to scope shot you, just toss the jar of the stuff and you are good to go. Now for his melee. Yeah, none of them really help keep his teammates alive, so because the sniper is a Girardi king, let's give him the Bushwhacker for the hell of it. I mean, killing enemies helps as well. That is one less person trying to kill your team, so it works. And last, the Spy. What does the Spy ever do to keep his teammates alive? Stab and shoot people? He really doesn't go out of his way to help people, does he? Fine, since all he is good for is sapping and killing, let's go with a loadout that gets the most kills quickly. Ambassador, for the reason that in a pinch, if you don't have the Diamondback crits, let's say you just respawned for example, it does the job of the Diamondback almost as well. The Big Earner, for running around and stabbing as many people as quickly as possible. And the Red Tape Recorder, as in worst case scenario, the Engineer removes the Sapper and instantly restores health to the level 3 Sentry, whereas the Red Tape Recorder will at least make the Sentry less of a threat, downgrading it 1 or maybe 2 levels. And lastly, to help the Big Earner, and maybe tank a bit of damage for the teammates, the Dead Ringer. Okay, can we seriously stop with the Dead Ringer being on every single top 9 list? Anyway, it might not be much for the Spy, but it's the best that greedy Frenchman can do to help. Anyway, that's my list. Have an idea for another one? Leave your ideas in the comments down below, and if you have not seen my other list, give them a watch, why not? And thank you all for watching. Share and subscribe for more, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Donations! Here's some donations from awesome subscribers. They're the best, and you guys should love them because they're awesome. Look at them. Look at these donations. Look at all these great donations. I don't have a list of what the donations are in this video, so I don't know. I'm just gonna assume that there's some hats and weapons, maybe a strange. Yeah, do look at these great donations from these great people, of which their names I do not know because I'm not looking at a list. Anyway, okay, bye!